Yeah. Good morning, Shivani ma'am, fellow students. My name is Christina Alexander. The topic for my today's presentation is contextual and textual knowledge. First, let's talk about the definition, contextual knowledge. When teachers are able to present information in a way that students are able to construct meaning based on their own experience, memory, and response. It is based on constructivist theory of teaching. So basically, in very simple words, if I need to explain, contextual knowledge is nothing but the knowledge that we gain from our teachers that we can relate to from the previous knowledge that we have, store it in our memory, and apply it in our real life situations. That is what contextual knowledge is all about. When we talk about the constructivist theory of teaching, constructivist theory of teaching revolves around the fact that there is an active participation by the students wherein the child himself or herself gets involved in an activity so that he experiences and can restore the experience and apply it in his or her future real life situations. That is what constructivist theory is all about. I hope for the students who are in Hindi, इसका मतलब ये होता है आप जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन अपने टीचर से गेन करते हैं आप उसको अपने प्रीवियस जितना भी नॉलेज है आप उसके साथ कैसे रिलेट करते हैं, आप उसको अपने मेमोरी में कैसे स्टोर करते हैं और आप अपने रियल लाइफ प्रॉब्लम्स या सिचुएशंस में उसको कैसे अप्लाई करते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट कॉन्टेक्सचुअल नॉलेज इज ऑल अबाउट. Moving to textual knowledge is knowledge which we get from reading a text. It is an essential resource of deriving the preferred meaning of text in their reading and interpretation. It is based on literary theory. Basically, textual knowledge in simple words is आप जो भी knowledge gain करते हैं, whatever knowledge you gain, and how by simply reading. For example, information in the form of, if it is presented in the form of print, oral, or via electronic media, you read it, you understand it, you try to make an interpretation out of it, and then you arrange it in a systematic manner is what textual knowledge is all about. Textual knowledge also depends upon the fact that who is presenting the idea, how it is being expressed in the text form, and what.
So sorry, Christina. Sorry to interrupt you. Somebody is on unmute. Please mute yourself. Yeah. So sorry, Christina. I'm so sorry.
So no worries. So basically, how what meaning the writer wants to convey to the reader is what textual knowledge is all about. One thing I would like to bring into notice in textual knowledge is it also depends who's writing the text, what does the writer want to convey, what does he want the reader to extract from the text he or she has expressed, is what textual knowledge is all about. In Hindi, आप जो भी information पढ़ने से आप understand कर सकते हैं और आप उसका एक meaning derive कर सकते हैं by reading in the form of information in the form of news, novels, books, literature, etc. is what textual knowledge is all about. If I talk about the characteristics in very simple words, contextual knowledge, let's talk about contextual knowledge first. Students are actively engaged and learn from each other. Obviously, every child is actively involved in it. So everyone has their own ideas and express and experience. So they share with each other. It's a team effort wherein they learn from each other. They are encouraged to take responsibility for monitoring their own development. Agar a child is very actively involved in the learning process, he or she is solely responsible in grasping of that idea or grasping of that knowledge. Teacher acts as facilitators of student learning. Basically, they provide the raw material and the child is told to, with the experience, told to learn and express and experience so that it helps in his real life situation. Learning environment is dynamic and exciting in which higher order thinking and problem solving is encouraged. Obviously, since the child is actively involved, his rational, logical thinking is applied to it in order to derive solutions to the problem. Knowledge extends beyond boundaries of conventional classroom. A conventional classroom, usually what we see is a child is a very passive learner, but in case of contextual knowledge gaining teaching learning process, the child becomes active and is actively involved in learning the information being delivered. Finally, assessment of contextual knowledge is formative form. At regular intervals, assessment is done so that the child, if need be, any modification in the learning strategies or teaching strategies need to be done so that the concept is clear to the child, is what is done at regular basis, that is in the form of formative assessment. Moving to textual knowledge. Textual knowledge is reading is purposeful. We either read it for pleasure or information. Whenever we pick up a book or newspaper, we usually take it with the intention of either gaining information or just simply reading it for pleasure. It represents knowledge structure which are helpful in increasing vocabulary. Yes, the more you read, the better your vocabulary will be. You learn new words, you'll want to use and apply those words as well. So the more you read, the more better your vocabulary will be. It is creating some ideas of, I'm so sorry, the screen. Idea of composition work, wherein the composition is collection of sentences spread around one idea. Ek idea hai, uske around a group of sentences is used in order to put the idea across in such a way to the reader so that he understands and extracts meaning from that particular text. It encourages students to express ideas and imagination in writing in organized and systematic manner. When we were young, always there was a sequence of things that were taught in especially English, wherein we our teachers made the effort of teaching us that the reading is done in such a way that it starts with introduction, followed by main body and conclusion. So there is a systematic order. Even when you talk about reading a story or reading a newspaper, it starts with the headline, followed by the main body, and then the conclusion of whatever is the understanding of that entire text. So there's always a systematic and organized way in which the text is presented. It helps students to develop communicative approach. Yes, the more you read, the better your communication skills will be. There's no doubt in that. And finally, textual knowledge is either through print media, electronic media, and oral media, which we all are quite aware of. It's very simple, the characteristics. It's self-explanatory. If you can just read it through once, you will get the gist of it. Finally, the conclusion. Contextual knowledge emphasizes in problem solving and helps students to find solutions to real life problems so that they can relate in the real world that they live in. Like I said, आप जो भी information सीखते हो, आप learn करते हो अपने teacher से, from your whoever is sharing knowledge. How do you take that knowledge, retain it, and then apply it in your real life situations is what contextual knowledge is all about. Textual knowledge makes students competent in finding meaning to the text he and she reads, encourages to express their ideas in an organized and systematic manner. So basically, आप जो भी पढ़ते हो, whatever information you are gaining by simply reading, how do you interpret it, understand it? It also encourages you to have a better communicative skills. It increases your vocabulary and also helps you in arranging information in a very organized and systematic manner. I must also mention textual knowledge also helps in expression of ideas. If I read a text, draw information from it, how do I present it in a written form is what textual knowledge also helps and enhances my way of presenting the idea of what I understood from the text. So this is all about contextual and textual knowledge. If you have any doubts, you can please ask questions for the same. Ma'am, if ma'am allows. If not, I would like to also bring into reference Knowledge and Curriculum book by Dr. Deepak Sharma, page number 56 to 60. The entire my content is taken from there. You can just read through it, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you so much.